Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Leslie Hooper.
And I'm Stephanie DeMontis.
And today I just wanted to share a video with you on Piers Morgan Uncensored. He had Dr. Phil on as a guest, and they talk about the recent Oprah Winfrey weight loss medication injection drug scandal, as he refers to it. It's a bit of dramatic language, if you ask me. So, Steph, buckle up. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
You mentioned Oprah Winfrey earlier. You've known Oprah a long time. I've known Oprah a long time. What did you make of the whole Ozempic Weight Watcher thing that she got herself into? I mean, I thought she got out of it in very Oprah style, which was to turn it all into a kind of, a TV special, as Oprah does very brilliantly. But did you feel that? Let's take a look at it first. Let's take a look at this.
I took on the shame that the world gave to me. For 25 years, making fun of my weight was national sport. And then I read the headline that Mr. Blackwell, the tastemaker of the time, called me bumpy, lumpy, and downright dumpy. Because when I tell you how many times I have blamed myself, because you think I'm smart enough to figure this out, and then to hear all along, it's you fighting your brain.
Now, like I say, Oprah did what Oprah does best. She turned it into basically about her being a bit of a victim and people picking on her, and this isn't what it seems. But on the face of it, Phil, I don't want to be unkind to Oprah, but I think if you're one of the key faces of Weight Watchers, encouraging millions of American women that they should be losing weight in a certain way as dictated by Weight Watchers. And it turns out you've been secretly on Ozempic, which is a drug that makes you stop having pangs of hunger. That is a deceit on the American people, isn't it?
Well, I don't know what timeline you're looking at, but I can tell you this: when I pick up a news article or see something online that says so and so admits to using Ozempic or whatever, as you know, I spend a lot of my time in the litigation arena, and I associate the term admit with a confession of wrongdoing. And I see these different stars, and they come out and say, this female movie star admits using Ozempic, or this male actor admits using this. What the hell business is it of anybody what somebody's doing in terms of their medical management? And what does it mean, admit using it? Is there some wrongdoing in somebody
Well, I would counter
getting
that
with their physician
I would
and
counter
doing
that.
something with their physician?
I would say generally you're right, but on the Oprah case, and again, I've got enormous respect for Oprah. She's an absolutely brilliant businesswoman. She's a brilliant television person, etc., and has done me a few big favors over the years. But if you're representing Weight Watchers, and that is not actually how you yourself are losing weight, and you get caught out having denied you're using one of these drugs, and then you have to admit it, you're kind of admitting not a crime, but you are admitting that you've been deceiving people, aren't you?
She didn't have to say anything at all. I think what Oprah did was discover that there was a really some breakthrough science that has identified that there are certain functions at a neurological level that cause people to be weight loss resistant, and they have spent years degrading themselves, putting themselves down, suffering in terms of self-worth, self-esteem, self-blame, being the butt of criticism and jokes. And she discovers, all of that time that I've been degrading myself, I've learned that there's something more to it than that. And so I'm doing something about that. And so I'm here to tell you of this revelation that I've had and share that with you so you can escape that suffering the way I have. Oprah could have kept her mouth shut
Mm.
and not said a word to anybody, doesn't owe anybody an explanation, doesn't have to say anything about it, but she chose to do so because she discovered something that she thought a lot of people, particularly women, were suffering through. And I think she thought, look, I'm going to take some heat for this, but I owe it to people uh, to share this revelation
Mm.
and give them an exit ramp, just like I've taken. And I commend her for doing it.
I mean, obesity is a massive problem in America, isn't it? How much of
It is.
obesity is down to, in the United States, is down to diet, fast food, all the obvious things, and how much of it is down to mental strength?
Okay, I'm just going to pause it there because that was a lot. Of course, I will say that Dr. Phil's loyalty is 100% going to be to Oprah. She is the one who gave him his platform. And I don't disagree what he's saying, but I do think that going into it, I'm like, well, there's definitely going to be a bit of a bias here. But also, I think he brings up some great points. What do you think? What's your first impression?
Yeah, his bias is surely going to show. It definitely did. And I agree with you. I think he brought up some good points. I also think that there's some nuance in this conversation. You know, he's taking a very binary stance. I don't necessarily agree with it. Pierce Morgan to me is like nails on a chalkboard. I'd rather bang my head against the wall than hang out with him. However, I understand kind of also where he's trying to pick this apart, but I feel like there's a conversation in the messy middle, as there often is, that isn't really being addressed on either side.
Which is what's the conversation that you feel like is missing?
Well, as he starts to talk about she's on Weight Watchers and she's promoting all of this weight loss through Weight Watchers and things like that. Weight Watchers has gone through several evolutions of bullshit over the years, and they kind of went through this healthy thing where it was so much less profitable to talk about being a healthy eater than a weight loser, basically. And Oprah has been the face of Weight Watchers. Has Oprah been using whatever method Weight Watchers promotes to take care of herself, to eat, to do all the things? I have no idea. The woman probably has 12 personal chefs. I couldn't tell you. However, if she's the face of Weight Watchers and she is using that methodology, she's walking the walk, then adding Ozempic on top of it or other weight loss injections, all of the same family, on top of it, does not necessarily mean she has deceived the public. Does not necessarily mean she is doing something wrong by losing more weight through weight loss medications. If you look at kind of her before and afters and her yo-yo roller coaster throughout the years, she's been pretty steady for some time now, and it's not where she was. It's not where she used to be. She goes hiking, she exercises, she loves her fitness. Like, I think she takes care of herself. She presents herself as someone who takes care of herself, but now she's lost some extra weight, and these weight loss drugs made it easier for her. So fucking what? I think it's fine. Now, is it for everyone? No, but we already discussed that in a multitude of different ways. But I understand where they're like, but you're deceiving the public. Well, no, she was being maybe discerning about when she went public, but here's where it's sticky for me. Weight Watchers took on a weight loss injections program. So now it's profitable for Oprah to be honest about it. And do I know whether or not she would have talked about it the way she's talking about it now with her heart and her soul and whatever, which I actually believe is authentic and true, but would she have shared that if Weight Watchers wasn't taking on a huge chunk of change for their weight loss injection protocol, program, whatever they're doing, in addition to their
Yeah,
normal
but
use?
she's no longer a representative of Weight Watchers. She opted out. She's no longer affiliated with them because of all of this. She made that decision before the announcement because she didn't want people to develop the belief that, oh, yeah, well, you're just now promoting the weight loss drug through Weight Watchers and going to profit off of it. So she actually removed herself from the board. So she's no longer affiliated anymore with Weight Watchers. Anyway,
Well, that still makes sense, and I don't know that it makes my point null and void, because that doesn't mean that there wasn't some contract like, "Yeah, we'll buy you out, and here's what you need to do." Like, you go public with your success, and then everybody's gonna look for like, associates you with Weight Watchers, they're gonna look there. I think that there's probably still some
maybe
some
there's no
mixing going on
way
there.
there's no way to know.
Yeah, no, I don't
Um,
have to look at her pocketbook. But I do think it's a nuanced conversation, I think about Weight Watchers, I think about Oprah. I think about weight loss drugs, and I also think, Weight Watchers is a big part of that conversation now. I associate all of those things together, not necessarily exclusively, but partially.
yeah, it's weird because whenever I think of Weight Watchers, I never think about Oprah because it's just been around so long, long before she was, kind of one of the head honchos over there. And I think of Weight Watchers in the 80s version of the Weight Watchers for whatever reason. That's where my brain always goes when I hear about it. And I've never done Weight Watchers. I'm not even super familiar with all of the different changes that they've made over the years because I'm not immersed in Weight Watcher culture and I haven't followed it that closely. So anyway, I know many, many, many of our clients are regular or have been regular Weight Watcher participants and find themselves going back over and over and over again. In fact, one of them had a lifetime membership because she had been with them for 20 years. And I'm like, dieting is not supposed to be a lifelong pursuit. It should not take you 20 years, but they reward their loyal customers and people don't see that maybe as problematic, but that's a separate conversation in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts before we put a bow on this one?
As he says, she doesn't owe anyone anything. I actually agree that she doesn't owe anyone an explanation. She doesn't owe anyone her medical history. She doesn't owe anyone what she's doing. But I do appreciate that someone in the public eye with weight being watched as closely as hers has, that she was willing to come out and say it. Did she deny it and then confess? Yes. And that's where the whole Pierce Morgan thing is like, but did she deceive people? Yes, she did. She denied it. And then she was just like, fuck it. Yes, I am. Like I did it kind of thing. So yeah, but also everybody's asking, are you doing it? Are you doing it? Are you doing it? And no comment is a confession, right? And saying no is a lie, and saying yes when you're not ready to say yes is nobody's business.
Yeah, well, Pierce Morgan thrives off of poking the bear, so to speak. He's always going to say the most outrageous, controversial thing because he's very clickbaity person, in my opinion. But I do agree that she has obviously been in the spotlight her entire career, right? And she has had a lot of dialogue and pushback on her body weight fluctuations throughout the years. And you're right, I do think she's stabilized her weight for quite some time. And probably because of the weight loss happening a bit more rapidly or suddenly in a time frame where injectables are obviously on the scene, people are going to start making comments again. And so in order to just shut everybody down, just like, yeah, I am. So what? Move on with your life.
Well, and the thing he said about her like turning herself into a victim, I'm sorry. Have you ever struggled with your weight up and down in the public eye and been ridiculed and basically made into this is your whole personality and persona? She is a victim. She is a victim. Okay? She didn't turn herself into a victim. People like you who talk about other people turned her into a victim. This is not your first try, mister. I've seen you before, and you're not nice.
It's such a good point, and I'm so glad he brought it up because of that part had slipped my mind, but I'm like, he is such a douche nozzle. All right. Well, I think that is it for this one. We will catch you all on the next one. Have a great week, y'all.